Collaborative divorce has been around for a few decades.
Wow.
Okay.
I think part of the reason why it hasn't caught on, very few family law attorneys are trained in collaborative divorce.
So what training is involved? How is it different from going to law school or whatever other training divorce attorneys go through?
Yes. So I think every attorney kind of has their own path as to how they get to a collaborative divorce training, because law school teaches us to litigate. Law school teaches us the rules of evidence, the code of civil procedure. It's teaching us how to go to court. So when attorneys make a conscientious decision to step away and say, you know, there are flaws with this litigation approach, there's collateral damage to the system that we have in California, and once you see a new system that works, that supports the family, I couldn't unsee it. I couldn't not pursue it.
Yeah, it almost seems there needs to be a bit of a rewriting on of how that education could even start off from the beginning there.
Yeah.
That there could be this different track, you know, like doctors have different ways of going down, becoming a doctor there.
I agree. The training to become a collaboratively trained attorney, it's only offered once a year. It's 3 days of training, consecutive days. That's hard for a working attorney to have, you know, half a week that they have to be in class. It requires essentially what we call a paradigm shift, where you imagine that the courts don't exist. You imagine that, you know, the witnesses that you would need to prove up a certain claim, you almost, I don't want to say pretend they don't exist, but it's not so much about being factually right. It's about convincing the other side that, you know, this is a reasonable claim, and that together with the holistic global settlement on all of the issues, on custody, on support, on the house, on the mortgage, on the refinance, that there's goodies for everybody, and no trial judge would come up with such a perfectly curated or crafted, tailored ruling for that family. So it's the family coming up with the perfect arrangement, the optimal, you know, situation out of a bad situation.
Yeah.
Versus in court, the courts tend to impose kind of rubrics or formulaic orders on families. They're not really tailored to the nuances or of the family. So I think a lot of people, after a trial, they walk away and they feel dissatisfied.
Yeah.
They feel that the judge didn't really hear them. The judge didn't really understand what was happening in their family. And I don't really have clients after a trial say, wow, that was a really rewarding experience. That was a great use of my time and resources.
Whereas in collaborative, you do have clients that say that?
Yeah.
I do. And one other thing I want to mention about why collaborative is not more, you know, popular. Litigation attorneys make more money litigating the same issues in a collaborative divorce case.
Yeah. Yeah, I was wondering, like, you were talking about, like, all these members who could be part of the team, though. So is that one of the roadblocks that stops people maybe going down that collaborative approach of maybe thinking that it could be or will be more costly?
Yes, I think that's one of the bigger barriers to people signing the collaborative stipulation, to people signing on to make this a truly collaborative case.
I imagine, though, if you go to litigation, it could actually end up costing.
Spiral.
Yeah,
It
more
can
than.
absolutely cost you more. And you'll end up seeing these professionals again through the litigation process, but in a different capacity. They're court-appointed experts under Evidence Code 730. They're now in a formal process where they can't just kind of pick up the phone and send an email. They have to write formal reports to the court, subject to cross-examination. The family is paying through the nose to have the same expert apply their skill set and ultimately make a recommendation to the court. And the expert is trying to convince the court that they're correct.
Much more adversarial.
Much more adversarial.